What's going on, guys? It's Unknown Player here, and today we're going to be going over all the latest Destiny news and quite a lot of interesting stuff to talk about in this video in terms of announcements from Bungie. So we found out when Deej is actually going to set a date for the April update reveal, when they're going to do it on Twitch. They also announced the next Iron Banner finally, and there's also a lot more info about another balancing patch changing and fixing some things about the recent one. That's all going to be bundled into another hotfix coming sometime soon. So Deej is actually traveling around Europe doing some secret business, and Cosmo said that when he returns next week, he's going to draw up a roadmap of what to expect in the month of March. They also joked about how they're constantly teasing us about updates of the updates, but they said they're excited to be finally giving us the information. So it looks like next week should be pretty interesting, and Deej will be setting a date for when Bungie will reveal the actual spring DLC from the live team, and this event they've been working on for a while now since the dawning. Deej did say a while back they will do a full reveal for this event on their Twitch channel, so my guess is they'll probably do a reveal stream around mid-March probably, and the event might go live at the start of April or possibly late March at the very earliest. But at least next week we know Deej will be giving us some details on the roadmap of March and what to expect in terms of content, reveals, and also this next hotfix as well. So what this event actually is a complete mystery to us so far. They've kept very tight-lipped about the event and what to expect from it. At this point, I think most of us are probably expecting some kind of remake of the old raids, seeing as it's definitely a lot easier than making some brand new content. And if they are going to be reskinning or bumping up the level on some old stuff, I think it's probably more likely we'll see a Vault of Glass. That's definitely what I'd love to see it personally, with some cool new weapons and definitely some new incentives to actually play it. Now, something else that I'd actually love to see myself would be if somehow they could give out the cool Year 1 weapons, like from Iron Banner Year 1 and Trials and the old Queen's weapons. I think there's a lot of content from Year 1 that definitely would be really awesome to see these days in Year 3, so hopefully we'll get some kind of like return of that content. Again, Bungie are definitely way too busy on Destiny 2 to be coming up with some crazy new ideas, but I think some kind of reskins and repurposed content with some slight new stuff is definitely the best we can hope for. But reskin content doesn't have to be a bad thing. I mean, the April update and the Dawning were pretty well received, and they were all pretty much repurposed content, but also very well liked by the community. But those are just some of my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section, of course. But I do think it's most likely we'll see some kind of Year 1 content remade, reskinned, and probably with some new incentives to actually play it. So moving on from that, Iron Banner is going to be returning next Tuesday on the 28th of February. The game mode is going to be Supremacy, and it should feel very different, honestly. It should be almost like a new mode without shotguns. It will definitely play very differently. The weapons will, of course, be the sniper and hand cannon. The last two to be sold now. Every single Iron Banner weapon has been sold, so next time it'll start cycling through the original ones, again, repeating ones you might have missed. And also the armor is the helmets and boots. Pretty weird there wasn't technically an Iron Banner in February, seeing as most of this one is taking place in March. They normally do one every single month, so maybe they'll have another one at the end of March as well. But there you go, Iron Banner is finally returning, and with the sniper and hand cannon. So next up, we're going to be talking about the next balancing patch that's on its way for Destiny, and it's currently being tested by the Crucible team. And they also talked about some changes they're currently working on for the near future by Josh Hamrick, who's the current Crucible senior designer. So they said they're going to be fixing, firstly, the issue with sidearms. The issue is that they're keeping all of the ammo when you die. Now, obviously, the point of sidearms is they keep you 1 or 2 magazines, but currently you can basically grab like 10 magazines from ammo crates, and you'll keep all of it when you die, instead of being reset to 1 or 2 mags again. So sidearms are basically going to be reset somehow, and essentially they're working on a fix for only respawning you with a little bit of ammo they're intended to have. So next up is the Scories artifact, which is also getting a nerf. This, of course, lets you build up your super. But they noticed a problem with people basically camping with the artifact in Trials and building super, especially in the Trials game mode. But they didn't want to break it for PvE as well, so it's kind of difficult for them to balance. So what they did is that now you're going to need to get a kill to activate it for 60 seconds. So you need to be going out and playing Crucible normally for it to work. But of course, in PvE, getting a kill every minute is pretty easy. So it should be a pretty good fix and a nice way to stop people camping with it in Crucible, but also not broken at all in PvE. So next up is the Truth rocket launcher. They felt the nerf that was a little bit too harsh, so they're going to be bumping up the mag size to 2 and maxing out its reload speed to make it a little bit better. I think that's quite a reasonable change to make it a lot more usable in PvE now. So now it should be somewhere in the middle, a 2 magazine size and maxed out reload speed to make it a lot faster. So next up is the Noland Beyond. This is actually getting some flinch added to it and essentially going to be nerfed. So the thing with Noland is that currently it's actually bugged and has 0 flinch. It does look like it moves a little bit, but if you shoot the bullet, it'll go exactly where it's initially aimed. So it's almost like a fake flinch that doesn't really exist. They said they noticed a huge amount of people using Noland specifically now, and they'll be bringing it in line with other snipers a little bit. They're not going to be adding a huge amount of flinch the same as the other snipers. They'll be only adding a little bit, and essentially that flinch is how the Noland is getting slightly nerfed. So next up is the Blink. They're actually going to be slightly undoing the nerf that was done to that initially in this patch. They said the nerf was a little bit too strong, so they're going to be removing the recovery penalty that was initially added a while back, but also reducing how long the HUD disappears for when you do blink. So this is actually a reasonable buff to the ability. The initial nerf that was added recently, that's going to be toned down a little bit, and also it's going to be buffed in terms of the regen that you don't lose anymore now it's been removed. So on top of that, they're also going to be fixing the health regen problem that was accidentally added with the recent patch, but they're only going to be reverting it for about half of the things that were broken. So the following are going to be kept exactly how they are, but given the instant health buff that the Blade Dancer also got, and these things are the Hungering Blade, of course, the Red Death exotic weapon, Lifesteal on the Void Walkers, Transfusion for Strikers, and also Cauterize for Sunbreakers. So these things, you're not going to regen your shields, but instantly regen your health, the same as the Blade Dancer. And now these following ones are about to be completely reverted to full regen, the armor and shields, the same as how originally were. And these are the Seros Regime, no backup plans, also when you pop your Ward of Dawn at Bubble, Apotheosis Veil, and also Embrace the Void. So it sounds mostly cool. I do think it's pretty weird how the Seros got fixed and will now fully regen you, but essentially Red Death won't. So even though they're supposed to be the same thing, the Red Death is now a much worse exotic, and it doesn't really have much use now. It wasn't that great before, but now when you get a kill, it's going to regen your health and not your shield. So Red Death definitely taking a bit of a nerf there, but there you go. Those are some of the changes. These are all going to be added into the next balancing patch, which should be sometime soon. They didn't give any kind of date because they're still working on it and testing the bugs, of course, but this should be added into the game relatively soon, probably the next coming weeks. So look out for that, and of course, any more details, I'll keep you guys up to date. So that is a roundup of all the latest news and everything worth paying attention to with Destiny and Bungie's future announcements. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, as always, a like rating would be much appreciated. Subscribe for more videos and make sure you don't miss out by hitting the notifications button. And I'll see you guys in the next one.